right, in this video, we are going to practice using projects. Now, the exercise is going to be over here on the right-hand side that we will follow along with, and this is pulled from our advanced level ProAdvisor certification course. If you would like more information about that course after we go through the exercise, be sure to click on the link below in the description. Let's dive right in and see what we're going to do today. So this exercise has 4 parts with the scenario for each shown as you go through the exercise. Be sure to do all 4 parts of this exercise in the same sample company session. So you will need to be in the sample company to do this exercise. Now, if you're not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, be sure to click on the link below in the description. I have this sample company pulled up here on the left-hand side. This is what we will work in. This specifically is the dashboard. So let's get started. And as a reminder, you need to do all 4 parts of this exercise in the same sample company session. So for the part 1 of this scenario, Sushi by Katsuyuki has asked your client Craig to install a Japanese fountain at the entrance of to their restaurant. Craig will be charging them a total of $16.90 for 1 rock fountain, 1 fountain pump, $150 of garden lighting, 6 hours of custom design, and 2 full days of installation. Craig would like to make sure that his profit margin stays above 30% for this, so use projects to set up and track this for him. Now, the first thing that we need to do is make sure that the projects feature is turned on. Sometimes it is already on in the sample company, so these first few steps are going to assume that it is not turned on. To turn it on, we need to click on the gear icon at the top right corner of the screen and then select Accountant Settings. The gear icon, top right corner right there, and then under your company, you're going to select Account and Settings. We need to get into the Advanced tab, so we're going to click on that. It is the bottom one on the left-hand side here. Click on Advanced. And now we need to click anywhere in the project section to make it editable, and then click on the toggle next to organize all job-related activity in one place. So projects is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th one down here. It's towards the bottom. Go ahead and click anywhere in that section to make it editable. There is one toggle right here next to this. Go ahead and click on that to turn it on. You know that it is turned on because it turns green. And then we're going to click on the green Save button. And now that it has been saved, QBO is taking a minute. There we go. Projects, it is turned on. We can go ahead and click on the green Done button. Now you may get this little pop-up warning that says, are you sure you want to leave without saving? This is a glitch, I believe, in the sample company because when we click yes, which is what we are going to do, the settings are still going to be saved. So I'm not really sure why this does it. My assumption is that it is a glitch in the sample company. So go ahead and click on the green yes button. And now you will see projects over here on the left navigation bar. So we are ready to begin our project. So let's go to that project center. From that left navigation bar, we're going to click on projects. That is over here on the left-hand side towards the bottom. Go ahead and click on that. And then we are going to click on Start a Project, which is right here. We are going to name this project Japanese Fountain. So go ahead and click into it, and then you're going to go ahead and type in Japanese Fountain. Make sure I spelled that correctly. Okay, great. And then in the customer field, we're going to select Sushi by Katsuyuki because that is what this is for, or who it is for. So click on that down arrow. You can go ahead and either start scrolling or you can type their name in there to have it show up. Once you find it, go ahead and click on their name. And then we're going to go ahead and click on the green Save button. We need to click on Add a Project and then select Invoice. So click on that Add to Project right here. Go ahead and select Invoice. And once this shows up, you'll notice that QBO already filled in all of the customer information, and that is because it is encoded in the project. Remember, we had named that project Japanese Fountain, but we had selected that the customer was Sushi by Katsuyuki, so it's automatically pulling that in. Let's go ahead and complete the invoice as outlined in the scenario. So the first thing was 1 rock fountain. So in the product service field, this first line, click into it. You can click 2 times to scroll down a little bit and get rock fountain, or you could always type their name in there. or type rock fountain in there. The information is going to populate here on this line. We are going to leave it as is. Let's go ahead in the second line, click into it, and you will see fountain pump right here. It's the third one down. Go ahead and click on that one. Once again, the information is going to populate, so we're going to leave it as is. Now we need to do garden lighting. This one I'm going to start typing in lighting, and it will show up here on the search. So go ahead and click on lighting once you get it. Now this is for $150 there. So in the rate field, let's adjust this to 150. When you hit the tab key, you will see that QBO has automatically updated the subtotal for these 3 items. There's a couple more that we need to do. We need to do 6 hours of custom design. So click into that 4th line under product service. Design is right here at the top. Go ahead and select that. This is for 6 hours. So in the quantity field, we need to adjust this to 6. Hit the tab key and you will see that QBO makes the calculation of 6 times 75 for $450. Last thing we need to do is put in 2 full days of installation. So click in that fifth one, fifth line of under product service. Go ahead and start typing in installation so that we can have that show up here for us. This is the one we want. Click on that. And then again, this is for 2 full days. So we actually need to adjust this to 16 hours. Go ahead and type in 16 because 2 full days is 2 days at $8 or 8 hours each. So click on 16, click that tab key over, and you will now see that the total of $16.90, which is exactly what we said in this scenario, is the total cost for this, has now been calculated. Everything is looking good. And so now we just want to click on the down arrow next to save and send to select save and close. That is this arrow right here. Click on that down arrow, go ahead and click on save and close. And now that invoice has been saved. Now you'll note that QBO has automatically begun tracking the income associated with this project. You can see it right there. This is because the accounting method is set as accrual in the account and settings. If the client had this set as cash, you would not see this income until the invoice was actually paid. The same is true with the bill we will see later in this exercise. Note also that QBO automatically tracks the cost of the fountain and pump. This is because these are inventory products and we're already in stock. So the cost of the garden lighting has not yet been included because it hasn't been purchased yet. So we'll do that in the next section. This cost that is right there, that is the cost of the fountain and the pump. So that is why that is showing here, and that's why you can see that there are costs already showing up here because those 2 items are inventory items, and that is why it will show up as our costs here. So part 2 of this scenario, Craig had the rock fountain and pump in stock, but he had to go buy the lighting. He picked up the items for $152.10 from a new vendor called Crystal Lighting Supply. Create an expense for this transaction. So to do that, we need to click on the plus new button and then select expense. The plus new button is up here on the top left-hand corner. Click on that and then under vendor select expense. We want to fill this out and type in the payee field Crystal Lighting Supply. I'm actually just going to copy over this or highlight over this and copy it. I'm on a PC, so for me it's Control C. And then here in the payee field, I'm just going to paste it, which again, I'm on a PC. It's a Control V as in Victor. If you are on a Mac, I know it's a little bit different, but it just saves typing. So they are not a vendor. So once you type their name in here, you'll get this add plus add new. This is what we want to select because we need to add them to QBO. We're going to leave everything here as is. If we had other information, of course, we would want to fill it out as much as possible for this particular vendor profile. But since this is all we have based on the exercise, we're just going to leave it as is and click on the green save button. So go ahead and do that. And now they are a new vendor here. So on the first line in the category field, we need to select fountain and garden lighting. Now, as a note here, there are two similarly named accounts in the chart of accounts. One is Fountain and Garden Lighting, which is an expense sub account of job expenses, job materials, and the other is Fountains with an S and Garden Lighting, which is an income sub account of landscaping services, job materials. We want the first one, we want the expense. So you can either click into this and start scrolling down. You see all the expenses are listed first. You can scroll down until you find Fountain and Garden with no S right here, or you could type it in the category field. Just make sure that you are selecting the one that is the expense account, not the income account. And as a side note, if in real life you have categories like an expense and an income that are named very, very similarly, highly recommend just changing it around a little bit so that you don't accidentally select the wrong account, and that it's much better distinguished than what we have right here. So once you find that expense Fountain and Garden Lighting, go ahead and click on that account. In the amount field, this was $152.10. So click into the amount, type 152.10. In the customer project field, we want to select Japanese fountain. So click that down arrow and you can scroll down, or you could type in the box looking for Japanese fountain, which is a sub account of the project, excuse me, of Sushi by Katsuyuki. So go ahead and click on that. And then we just simply need to save and close this expense. The green button down here, go ahead and click on that. Now it has been saved. Now, if you notice that as soon as we saved, this cost has increased. And that is because we indicated on the crystal lighting supply expense that the purchase was for the fountain project, which is this one. So QBO automatically added that cost to the project. You can click on the arrows to get more specific details if you wanted to. You can click on this job expense, job materials, and you can see now that 152 is for that lighting right there that we just created in that expense. So, part three of this scenario, Craig's employee, Emily Platt, did the design work for the project, but it only took her 5.75 hours. Craig is charging Sushi by Katsuyuki a flat fee, not for her time, but he wants to account for this employee expense on the project. So, in total, Emily costs Craig $25 an hour. We're going to use the single timesheet activity to track this. Now, before entering Emily's time, you will need to enter her rate. To do this, you will need to go to the Project Center. The Project Center is where you can see the status of all projects at once. So to get there, we need to click on All Projects. So up at the top here, you see this All Projects. Go ahead and click on that. And note that you will likely need to close out some informational pop-ups from the sample company before proceeding with the next step. They're just trying to be extra helpful. So if you have any pop-ups, just go ahead and click out of those. So we need to enter Emily's hourly rate. So to do that, we're going to click on employee hourly rate, which is right here. We're going to click on the add next to Emily right there. And then in the cost rate field, we're going to type 25 and then click on save. So click into that box, click 25 or type in 25, and then go ahead and click on the save link or blue wording right there. And it has been saved. Now note that this is not how much Emily is paid. Rather, this is the cost rate. The cost rate, excuse me, is how much Emily costs Craig, which includes not only how much she is paid, but also the taxes and other overhead that he has to pay. This is also not the billable rate for Emily, which is what he would charge someone else for her time. So this is what it costs Craig. So that is why it is $25. Let's not, don't get too confused or hung up on it. Just know that this cost rate is what it costs Craig to for Emily to work on this. So we're going to click on the X on the top right corner to exit right there. Next, we will enter her time for this project. So we're going to click on Japanese Fountain to get back into that project. Go ahead and do that. And then add to project, we are going to select time. So click on add to project right here, and then go ahead and select time so that we can enter Emily's time. Now note that Emily is already selected, and this is because she is alphabetically the first employee. So in the service field, we're going to select design since that is what she was doing. Click into that down arrow right there. You can see it's towards the top. Go ahead and click on design. We are not charging the client, Sushi by Katsuyuki for her time, so we're going to leave billable right here unchecked. The time for this was 5.75, so click into that time and type 5.75. Hit the tab key on your computer, and you will notice that when you do, QBO will automatically convert the decimals to hours and minutes, which is nice because then you don't have to really think about it too much. So let's go ahead and save this. Click on the down arrow next to save and new, and then select save and close. So click that down arrow right there, and then select save and close. Now the cost of Emily's time is now being added to the project. You can see that here. That cost is continuing to increase. That profit margin is slowly going down because we are adding in the associated costs with it. Now, part 4 for this, Craig's employee John Johnson did the installation, which should have only taken 2 days. On the second day, however, he ran into some problems with the fountain nozzle. He called his buddy Jeff Hicks to come help. Jeff stopped by with some parts from his hardware store, and on the third day, John finished up after an additional 4 hours. Help John fill out a weekly timesheet to track this, then enter the bill Craig received from Hicks Hardware, which included $150 worth of labor help and $23.50 worth of parts. Now, before entering John's time, once again, we will need to enter his rate as well. So we're going to start by returning back to the project center. That is clicking on all projects right here. And now we need to enter the employee hourly rate. Click on that. This time we are going to look at John Johnson, so click on add right there. Now his rate cost is going to be, or cost rate is, is $40. So click into that box, type 40, and then click on save right next to it. Now, once again, remember, this is not how much John is actually paid. This is how much John costs Craig, which includes not only how much he is paid, but also the taxes and other overhead that Craig has to pay. This is also not the billable rate for John, which is what Craig would charge somebody else for his time. Remember, when we were setting it up for Emily, or when we were filling in her hours, we did not click that checkbox for billable hour because we are not billing that directly to the client. So that is just something totally separate. So just know that right here, once again, this is how much it costs Craig for using John. We're going to click on the X on the top right corner to exit right there. And now we need to enter his time. So we're going to click on the plus new button and this time select weekly time sheet. Plus new button right here. And then under employees, we are going to select weekly timesheet because remember, this is 3 days that he worked. So we need to have extra days here to do it. In the drop down field, we want to select John Johnson. Right now it is showing as Emily's information. So we need to change this to John. Click that down arrow and he should be right there at the top. On the first line in the customer project field, we need to select Japanese fountain. So click that down arrow and then you can scroll down or you could type in there if you want down to find Japanese fountain. Go ahead and click on that. In the service field, remember he did installation, so we want to click on installation. That is this one right here. Click that down arrow. It's not too far down. You can see installation. Go ahead and click on that. Once again, this is not billable, so do not click on that. We are simply going to add the hours that he worked. So for Monday, you're going to type 8, Tuesday 8, and then 4 for Wednesday. So click into the box for Monday. Just know that your days, the numbers here are the dates of the week. Yours will likely be different whenever you are doing this exercise than what you see on my screen right here. It doesn't matter for the purposes of this exercise, so don't worry about that. In the Monday field, we are typing 8. On the Tuesday field, we type 8. And then the Wednesday field, we type 4 to indicate 2 full days and then 1 half day for him to finish up that project. We're going to click on the down arrow next to Save and New, and then select Save and Close. So you're going to click on that down arrow right here. There it is. And then click on Save and Close. All right, and you can see that cost is definitely changing versus the income as we continue to add expenses and time or employee time to this particular project. All right, so now let's go ahead and add that bill from Hicks Hardware. We're going to click on the plus new button and then select bill. Go ahead and click on that plus new button at the top, and then under vendors, you're going to select bill. Now note that you will likely need to close some informational pop-ups in the sample company before proceeding with the next step. That is this one right down here. Go ahead and click on that X to get out of it. In the vendor field, let's select Hicks Hardware. So click on that down arrow. You can either scroll or type their name in there to have them pulled up. Once you find them, go ahead and click on their name and you will see Jeff's information show up here. We're going to complete the category details grid to indicate in the scenario, or as indicated in the scenario, remembering to indicate Japanese fountain in the customer project field. So for the first one, we need to do $150 of maintenance and repairs. So go ahead and click into this 2 times. You can start typing in maintenance to get that to show up for us. Once you click on it, I'm sorry, actually, this is a sub account. There is probably, I'm actually going to scroll because as you can see here, it's job expenses, cost of labor, maintenance and repairs. There must be a main account that says maintenance and repairs. So I would scroll down just to be sure. Here is job expenses, cost of labor, maintenance, and repairs. So make sure that you click on that proper sub account right there. This is why it's so important to have different accounts in the chart of accounts named differently so that it's very easy to distinguish what is what. So make sure you have the correct one selected. Remember, in the amount field, it is $150, so go ahead and type in that. And then we have the fountain nozzle parts. So that is going to be selected under the fountain and garden lighting. So click into that. Let's scroll down once again, because as mentioned before, there is an expense account and there is an income account that are named very, very similarly. We want the one that is fountain, no S, and garden lighting. So it might be easier just to be sure to just scroll down until you find it. This one is the job expenses, job materials, fountain, no S, and garden lighting. Once you find it, go ahead and click on that. And then we are going to have it for $23.50. But we can always put a description in here if we want. We can do this as like installation. I wonder what we have here in this. It says, oh, help repairing fountain nozzle. So let's go ahead and do that in the description. Help repairing fountain nozzle. And then it also says fountain nozzle parts. So not required as as you can see here in the exercise, but I do see there is a description here in this screenshot. So let's just fill it out the same way. So the top one is help repairing fountain, oh, should I spell that incorrectly? Fountain nozzle. And then this one is fountain nozzle parts. Now we need to, as it mentioned here, you need to make sure that you are indicating this is part of the fountain, the Japanese fountain project. Otherwise, it is not going to show in the project. So in the customer project, click on that down arrow and then scroll down until you find Japanese fountain, or you can do in the second line, like I'm going to just start typing in Japanese and it shows up here for us. So make sure that is selected for both of those. Everything is looking good right here. Oh, I expanded that. So now we are simply just going to click on the down arrow next to save and schedule payment and then select save and close. So click on that down arrow right there and then click on save and close. And now that bill has been saved. So, did Craig meet his goal of a 30% profit margin? Let's go back to the project center to find out. So, click on Japanese fountain so we can get directly into there. And unfortunately, as we look at the dashboard for this particular project, you will see that he did not make that goal. It is a 16.9 profit margin, not 30%. Maybe if John hadn't had trouble with the nozzle and had to bring in Jeff, it would have been that 30% profit margin. But that is how you would use projects. Now, if you liked this exercise and you want to do more like this, or if you would like more information about that advanced level ProAdvisor certification course, be sure to click on the link below in the description, and I will see you in